Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm getting myself confused with microphones this morning. Story of my life. There we are. It's all good. Right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the stream. I say good morning. I suppose it's only good morning if you're watching live and in Europe. But welcome wherever you are, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on demand on Twitch, whether you're watching on YouTube. I really appreciate you spending some time with me while I look at a variety of different things this morning. This is my coffee chat and minis stream, so it's all a bit kind of chilled out. We're just kind of doing whatever, but as you may have guessed from the title, and you may have seen in other places, this is what I've called Oldhammer Extravaganza. So I'm just going to move my camera slightly because I'm looking at the wrong place. There we are. It's all good. Okay, so yes, Oldhammer Extravaganza. So I'm going to be looking in just a little bit at some of the old, very old Warhammer bits and pieces that I managed to rescue from my parents' house. You'll see from the state of some of the boxes that it very much was a rescue job. But lots of cool things in there to look at, I think, and I think it will be interesting for anybody who has been a miniature collector for a long time, or just kind of wants to know where it came from, really. I know it's a bit of a... it tends to be a bit more of a, not so much of a young person's game, but I know there are lots of young people getting into the hobby, which is amazing, and it would be great to kind of show some of the older things that we were working with at the time. I'm going to do that in just a few minutes. First of all, I'm going to kind of go through a few other bits and pieces. I know for anyone who is or will be watching live, it's quite an early start, so I'm just going to give people a couple of minutes to kind of chill out and arrive. But in the meantime, I hope you've got some form of hot drink which is to your liking. Normally, if you've seen this stream before, normally you know I get through vast amounts of coffee on this stream, but that's kind of indicative of what's going on. I've got a bit of a sore throat today, so I'm on the tea with honey this morning. So hopefully that will prevent me from getting to the end of the stream and just kind of croaking at you for the whole thing, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. Oh yeah, and then in my nicely branded mug, of course. There we go. So as I say, I'm going to kind of run through a few different bits and pieces first, but then don't worry, the Warhammer, the Games Workshop stuff will take up the majority of the stream, so there'll be plenty of time for that kind of thing. So first thing I'm going to talk about just before we get started is one of the many polls that I have going on at the moment. It absolves me of any decision-making responsibilities. Great, but I've got a poll running in on Twitter at the moment, so it's publicly available, and it's to help me decide. So my Thursday streams are focusing on small creators, and I'm going to start doing short series. I've been doing kind of one-offs looking at different creators. I'm going to start doing a short series. So this week is going to be the start of an Atlantis miniatures kind of series, 3 or 4. And what I'm going to do is paint through one or more miniatures from start to finish. What I don't normally get to do. Sorry, chat has just told me that something is not updated. I don't know. I can't see anything that needs updating there, so we'll go with it. It'll be fun. What's the worst that can happen? So on this poll, the first poll is to choose which of the kind of ranges from Atlantis miniatures we're going to choose from. So the poll is currently elves, dwarves, or ogres. I'm going to paste into the chat a link. You can go straight to that poll if you're interested, but I'm going to show you a little sneak preview of each of the different categories to help you make a decision of what you might like to see. Currently the top 2 are tied. I'm not going to tell you which ones they are, but the top 2 are tied, so your vote could have a big impact. So I'm going to show you the ogre first. So here is the one of the... This is not necessarily the one I'll be painting on stream. I mentioned this is the first poll. So once this poll has decided which range we're going to go from, I'm going to put up another poll to decide the exact miniature. So if you're watching this on catch up a couple of days after the stream, head over to Twitter, because there'll probably be a follow-up one. That one will only close probably Wednesday, so I know what I'm painting on Thursday. So I'll give you plenty of time to get voting. But this is one of the Atlantis miniature ogres. And I really like the ogres. Well, I like all the Atlantis miniatures ones, which is probably why I'm painting them. But you can see this is a female ogre she's pretty big, holding a decapitated head of what does look like a male ogre. I don't know, the head style and size do make it look like another ogre, but I'm not absolutely sure, but we'll see. But you can see there that she's got a giant mace, and there's a few others to choose from. There's a witch, there's a shaman, that kind of thing, so lots of different possibilities. But that's one of the ogres. I'll just get you, here we are, there's a normal human sized miniature. So you can see the ogres are pretty big. I also have a Reaper Giant there, so you can see it's kind of in between the two. The Reaper Giant will make an appearance a little bit later on. Yeah, so this ogre is pretty big. And as I say, that's just an example of the ogres, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what they look like for the voting. Okay, so now I'm going to show you an elf. So the elves were from the most recent Kickstarter, which arrived with me 2 days ago, Thursday. And there are some really cool looking sculpts in there. This is just the base for one. The one I'm going to show you here is a Panther Rider, who is, yeah, really, really cool. So, still in pieces because it arrived on Thursday and I haven't yet had a chance to put it together. But you can kind of see, all caught up together on the sprues. But there's the Panther, who again is a very cool looking guy. We were talking on the Coffee Chat minis last week when I had Andy on as the guest. It was a lot of fun, that one. But we were talking about some of the old wood elves, and I think these kind of have a little bit of that feel. They also feel a little bit Lord of the Rings elf to me, although I don't think they rode panthers there. Maybe it's World of Warcraft. I think they ride night sabers, don't they? They're night elves. But there you can see, and then we also have a rider here. Let's get nice and close so you can see some detail on there. It is a beautifully detailed miniature. Yeah, lots of really nice sculpting. You can see patterns on the cloak. Very different, I think. So the ogre is very big, and the detail is cool, but it's all kind of like dirty and scrappy and things like that. Like scraps of leather, bits and pieces, whereas the elf is very put together. Yeah, like that. So you can see, so we'll be sitting on top of the Panther, which is very, very cool. So that's an elf, and again, I've got a few of them. So there's no there's an arm left in there, but that's only because it came off the sprue rather. Yeah, so I've got a few elves, so no guarantees that will be that one, but that will probably be one that you can vote for in there. So yeah, another very cool miniature. I do really like Atlantis miniatures. They're not the cheapest, but they're beautiful resin miniatures. So yeah, you can't argue too much with that as these things go on. So that's the elf, and then I will quickly show you the dwarf. So we've gone from kind of big to medium to small. Not particularly intentionally, but that's how it worked out. So here we go. So this is the dwarf, and again, the detail on here is beautiful. You can see that she's got two axes. One of the things that I do like about Atlantis miniatures as well is that they do miniatures, male and female. There's not like a massive difference between them. By which I mean it's not like male warriors and female bikini wearers or something. They are similar in the roles that they play, which is really nice to see. So yeah, again, you can see. I don't know if I dare get much closer to the camera. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. So you can see there that some of the detail in there is fantastic again. And again, may or may not be this actual one. Although I have fewer dwarves than I do elves or ogres, so there's a higher chance of it being this one, I suppose, if dwarves win. But yeah, that's very cool. And I also have. I don't know whether it's meant to go with this miniature, but this is a riding bear. I think it's called an armoured Warbear on their website, and the idea is that the dwarf kind of stands on the back there. So it's not riding in the sense that the elf is riding the panther. It's riding on this little platform on the back, which I think is really cool. So I don't know, that may or may not be the again, the miniature that goes on there. I think because I can do them in multiple different ways, I could actually do the armoured bear with pretty much any of the dwarves that I have. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we'll. There's about just over a day, I think, left on the first poll, which is the one I linked in chat. It's no, the armoured bear is not going to fit in this tiny bag. Let's do a size comparison: bear and ogre. Why not? There you go. So kind of similar. The bear is slightly taller, but it's the same kind of size. So there you are. Yes. So yeah, as I say, first poll is currently open, and it will be open for about another day, I think. And then after that, I'll put up another poll for exactly which miniature I paint, and then that will be painted over a few streams. I can't find the bag that the bear was in. Maybe it wasn't in a bag. Who knows? So yeah, then whatever wins will be painted over a few different streams, and yeah, I can kind of highlight that, and hopefully people will be interested to see some Atlantis mini stuff, so that would be cool. And then once I've done that over a few weeks, I'll look at the next company and do that. The company that I looked at on Thursday just gone was Scotia Grendel, and here's an orc that I painted from them. So this is the one that I started on stream. Is there, and I also have some terrain from them, which again I showed. If you want to see properly the Scotia Grendel stuff, do check out the Thursday stream, which is the actual small creator stream where I looked at their stuff. But this is what I've got, and this is the one that I painted for that. So that's good. Okay, so let's look at some Old Warhammer, since that's what I said we were going to be doing this morning. I shall have a small sip of tea, and then we shall get going. Okay, so I don't know the exact era that these are from. I think I want to say 3rd edition Warhammer, but I'm not really sure. But they would be from the 1990s, and I think I'll take you back to the 90s, where at this time on a Saturday morning, at least in the UK, there would have been what would it have been? There would have been a Batman cartoon on TV, probably. There probably would have been queuing for an X-Men cartoon also on TV. And back in the 1990s, I was a child into a teenager, and I played some Warhammer with my friends. My brother played. There was a group of about 6 of us who played on a relatively regular basis. And I played primarily Orcs and Goblins, which unsurprisingly, therefore, is what I mostly have in my collection here. But I'm going to show you some of these miniatures. There's a mixture of metal and plastic. Those people who are new to Games Workshop won't really know much by way of Games Workshop metal miniatures, because I don't think they've really made anything in metal for a few years, because I stopped collecting for a while. Oh yeah, that's not a great view, but this is like a work chest which is just full of old bits and pieces. Yes, because I stopped collecting. I probably would have stopped collecting late 90s, I would think, something like that. And only picked up painting again about 4 years ago. So I'm not as acquainted with everything that happened in the middle, really. But these are all back from when I collected as a child, as a teenager. As I say, most of it is Orcs and Goblins, and it's all in a bit of a random state, really. I should say at this point, if you're of a nervous disposition, I am going to show some of my painting from when I was a child, and yeah, make sure you're sitting down because it's horrific. Yeah, there's a kind of a mixture of stuff. Some of it's in parts, some of it's not. I have had a quick look through here before, and I did a little bit of paint stripping, but let's just get some things out. We'll get some non-painted stuff out first, so that you have some time to build yourself up to some of those things. Let's get some of these things out. And as I say, it's been a while now, I think, since Games Workshop really did very much metal miniatures. But that used to be kind of the standard, really. They had units were in plastic, and kind of champions, anything like that would be in metal. So you'd kind of buy most of your army in plastic. So let's have a look at that first. So these are Goblin archers. So yeah, you'd buy most of your army like this. So you bought a box of maybe 20, and these were just identical. You can see 2 here that are identical. So you'd have a full regiment of these, whatever you were. So the orcs would be the same. Now you get all of them differently posed, all of those different things. It would be 20 identical, or however many it would be identical, but you'd get a big box of them. And they have a very different style, I think, back in the times. We were talking about this a little bit on one of my streams earlier in the week. I think it was the Small Creator stream on Thursday. One of I would say the 2 big things for me in the way things have changed are, one is the kind of level of sculpting. I feel like now Games Workshop work very hard to have every little surface as detailed, as many hard edges as possible. In part, I think, because the Games Workshop suggested painting technique is all about edge highlighting and things like that. So the more edges you have, the easier it is to do good edge highlighting and make it look good. But the other thing I think is around proportions. So it's a bit more realistic, perhaps, proportions back in the day, rather than the slightly more cartoony proportions that are now. And that's not to say that either is right or wrong or anything like that. But this is an orc. I think he's a standard bearer. He doesn't have his standard with him at this point. But yeah, he's a metal miniature. He's kind of like heavily armored. He's got lots of chainmail on, lots of plate mail. Yeah, you can't make out too much of the details on here. Metal is never easy to show unpainted on camera, but he definitely has a very different feel to me to some of the new minis, which I have some of here that I can show you in a little bit. But yeah, very, very cool. I do like. There's something about metal miniatures. I don't find them the best for painting, to be honest. I did a Twitter poll a little while ago, and then I wrote a blog post about the different types of materials that minis are made from, and the strengths and weaknesses. And it's amazing how few people said that metal was the best for painting. Some people did, but most people just said it just feels right to be painting metal miniatures, and it's good on if you're playing with them on the battlefield to have them moving around. Yeah, so there's lots of these kind of cool minis. I'll show you a couple more here. This guy is a goblin. This is what's called a doom diver. Where the humans in the Warhammer game from that time were called the Empire. They were also Bretonnians, actually, I suppose, but the Empire were the main ones, and they had cannons, and I think they had mortars, and they had all those kind of things. Goblins, on the other hand, had doom divers, which literally just fired goblins up into the air, and then they came down on people with their pointy hats and tried to kill them from long range. I think it's fair to say their view on goblins was fairly expendable back at that time. But yeah, so this guy's kind of got the wings to try and, I guess it's kind of like a hang glider to try and aim for the right target. But yeah, again, so someone in chat has said they look a bit more static than some of the others. I think that's probably fair, actually. I'll show you a couple of the more modern minis in just a second. Yeah, and I think that probably is fair. This guy is a Goblin Netter, so he's carrying a big net over his head to basically just catch people. The thing with the Orcs and Goblins was very much that they weren't as strong as the other people. So if you got a regiment of 10 goblins against 10 imperial, I think they were halberdiers or something, they would get absolutely destroyed. But the goblins would just swarm them in absolute numbers. But yeah, these are the proper like old school pewter miniatures. So yeah, this guy is a netter. And yeah, it absolutely. So Twitch chat is just saying about a sense of humour, and it's a sense of fun and a sense of humour. So like I say, with the Goblin Doom Diver, it was just crazy. It was pretty crazy playing Orcs and Goblins. It must be said. It was so random. Like you could cause absolute carnage, but because the Goblins don't really know what they're doing and they're all a bit stupid, they'd half the time it would all go wrong and. you'd end up causing a catastrophe. We used to occasionally play like really big games. So I would play Orcs and Goblins. We had someone else there who played Dark Elves, someone else who played Skaven. So like we'd all group together and play against. It tended to be younger brothers played the kind of evil races, and the older brothers played the good races. So it was like younger siblings against older siblings, and yeah. I'm pretty sure that the people on my team were just tearing their hair out half the time, as you could never predict from 1 minute to the next what the goblins were going to do. I've got a few more here as well. I'll go dig back into my tool chest. Actually, I mean, to be honest, I have loads more to look at, but I'll pick out a few from here. I will show you some painted minis. I did promise I would, and yeah, make sure you're sitting comfortably. So, oh, there, yeah, I've got a goblin with a big spiky pole. So we'll show you that one in a second. Let's see, what else have we got that's good? That's another good orc there. I am going to paint some of these old ones up. I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, it's yeah, I relatively recently rescued these from my parents' house. So still a way to go. Oh, I'll get this guy out as well. I've got a huge dragon here. I think he was a dark elf dragon. I don't know why I ended up with him. But it's frustrating because I have all but one piece which has been lost in the depths of time. And so I'll just quickly, as an interlude, I suppose, show you some of the more modern ones. I know people probably are not here to see the more modern plasticky ones, but you can see here that here's an orc who is yeah, it feels quite differently proportioned to me. This is one of the old ones. It is that kind of action shot. I don't dislike these by any means. I don't think the new Games Workshop models are bad, anything like that. But I think that there is something very cool about the older ones. Even if you could get lead poisoning from the really old ones. I'm going to be doing a Goblin Squire Investigates video later this week on the health risks of miniature painting. So that's a modern orc. I'll show you as well. This is a modern, I guess the equivalent of like a human. So this is the kind of thing that you're playing with in modern Warhammer. They are super light because they are just plastic. They're the polystyrene plastic. And I think there is something really cool about these, but there is also something really cool about all of these pewter ones. So let's have another quick look at some more of these, and then I'll open some of the other boxes and show you what I've got in there as well. So this is, I found one of the banner bearers who actually had his other hand in there, which is always useful. So yeah, he's got his banner there. I don't think they ever came with little banners, so I would make one to go with that. But yeah, he's a very cool miniature. I guess it kind of depends what you're looking for, really, in a mini, which you would go for. But there's something super nostalgic. I'm really enjoying just kind of looking at these, and I hope you guys are enjoying seeing them as well. One thing I did note actually the last couple of days as I was painting is this orc from Scotia Grendel that I painted actually feels much more like what some of the old school Warhammer orcs than the new Warhammer stuff does. So yeah, as I say, this is from Scotia Grendel that I just painted up over the last few days. And yeah, it kind of has more of a feeling of the modern orcs. I do have some orcs. I'm not sure if I have one here actually. I should have grabbed one. The modern orcs, when they do wear armor, because as you saw, this one that I showed you isn't really wearing armor. He's going to catch a cold. But the ones which do wear armor are big, chunky. It's like they've just kind of found slabs of stone to wear as armor rather than wearing the same kind of armor that humans do. Whereas these guys have lots of chainmail. They have the kind of plate mail as well. So they're not identical, but they're kind of like orcs wearing humanish armor, I suppose. Come on, camera, focus for me. There we go. So yeah, this guy, I don't think it's a very good idea to hit his drums with this hand, because that mace looks like it would do an awful lot of damage to some of those drums. But he's a drummer. Again, you can see there, just about see like his face. But yeah, this I don't know exactly when these would have come from, but as I say, I'm pretty sure it would be like the 90s because that's when I was playing. So let's have a look. Oh yeah, and this is the goblin with big spiky thing I told you about. This is basically just he seems to have stuck a big spike through a club, essentially. And again, kind of gives you that idea of the goblins all just being a bit random and not the strongest around. But yeah, they could cause absolute carnage. I think I've got a fanatic somewhere who I'll just explain a little bit about. That's a plastic miniature that I've got. If I can find him. Yep, there he is. As I strain myself out of shot. There we are. So this guy's a fanatic. So these goblins you would have in your... I'm surprised he's on a round base, actually. Maybe I don't know. I would have expected him to be on a square base. But yeah, so these would hide in your units of goblins. So you'd have these weak goblins doing basically nothing. There'd be like 20 of them, and probably 5 of your opponent's troop could kill all of them. But you could hide fanatics in there, so that whenever someone got close, these fanatics just burst out and just destroyed people, because they basically just run into them swinging a giant ball at them. So yeah, goblins, orcs and goblins was a bit of a crazy army to play. They did have strong troops as well, but yeah, the craziness of some of these things was yeah, certainly interesting. I'll quickly show you this dragon. You can see, oh yeah, and I haven't shown you my painting yet. I should do that, shouldn't I? Apart from this, obviously you can see this, but this is kind of flaking off. Yeah, so this is a very cool old school dragon, but looking through my box, I can find all but one pieces of the dragon, which is really frustrating. I think it's his face as well. I've got the rider, I've got all of this stuff, but yeah, unfortunately, no, not the rest of the dragon. So let's quickly grab an orc that I painted, and I was going to show you a troll as well if I can find him. But while I look for that, here you go. This is what the inside of that box looks like. Just carnage. But this is an example of my painting from when I was that age. And I'd love to say that I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 when I was doing this. This is probably when I was, I don't know, 12 or 13. Yeah, it's yeah. I'm quite glad that the camera is struggling to focus on this, to be honest. It's certainly interesting. There we go. Let's see. How about this goblin? Lovely, classic skin tone, and you can see how much work I did in putting the face in, right? Can't you? Just looks like a blank blob of yellow. Yes. So fortunately, my painting has improved at least a little bit since then. I hope everyone would agree. Let's see if I can find the troll, because I do. I've just found another one of the arms of the dragon, but that's one that I knew was there. I don't seem to be able to find the troll right now. But one of the things that I noted with that is I painted the orcs in the Man United kit, apparently. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, so one of the things that I noticed about the ogre, the troll, is that it's a very, well, to me it looks like quite a different kind of design from the modern ones, which are quite big and chonky. Let's see. The trolls back from then were kind of lean, it might be a slight exaggeration, but yeah, they were quite tall and gangly rather than being anything else. Right, I've got some more boxes to show you. Fortunately, I managed to get quite a bit of stuff from my parents. I think my brother, as I say, my brother he played Empire. I think he still has some of his, which he doesn't want anymore. He's gone and had kids and that kind of thing. But yeah, so I'm going to try and get some more off him, and if I can, I'll obviously show any that I do manage to get. But we'll have a look at some more here. I can't really remember what's in these. So Andy and I, in the equivalent stream of this last week, where he and I were chatting, we were talking about the old wood elves, and that's what these were in here. I'm not sure if they still are actually. A lot of it is some of that. Here's some more examples of my painting. I clearly got part way through this and just decided that enough was enough. I couldn't inflict it on anymore. Yeah, again, I'm quite glad that it's not really focusing on this. But so this is, again, you can see here what I was talking about before. So this is the box that you would buy. And this looks like it has 8 identical miniatures in it. So you didn't have to worry about putting little different bits and pieces on, figuring out what went with what. You just, I think they were one-piece miniatures. So you just cut them out of the sprue, stick them in the base, and they all look the same. But I think, because you could then do the like high quality pewter leaders of stuff, it wasn't so much of an issue. I've got some old Blood Bowl stuff in here as well, because we used to play some Blood Bowl. I don't know who painted this dwarf, but it's much too good for it to be me. I'm not sure where this goes. Is this a Hero Quest mini? Does anyone in chat know if this is... No, because they weren't slotted bases, I think, were they? I'm not sure. Not sure where this goes from. Yeah, there we go. Oh, you can see how thick the primer I used back then was. It's obscured pretty much all the details. Man. I did say if I could find one that was usable, I'd send it to Andy, because we were talking about these last week. I don't know whether that counts as usable or not. I'll have to look through some more. So apparently one of the older brothers played dwarves, so it's possible I just stole one. I think I did. I did transfer a dwarf onto my Blood Bowl team at one point, so it's possible that I actually, I got a mini from that. So I've got another box here that has other stuff. Oh, here's the troll. Perfect. Yes, it is a troll. So you can see this one I've tried to remove the paint of and only got so far with it, but you can kind of see here that. I always think of this as being quite a Tolkien type shape for like a troll, but I'm not sure if in The Hobbit he really describes the troll, because Bilbo encounters the 3 trolls, doesn't he, who then get turned to stone. But I don't know how well Tolkien describes it, but I definitely always think of this as being much more like a Tolkien shaped troll. A lot of the ones that you see at the moment are big kind of fat guys. Not that there's anything wrong with being a big fat guy. I identify with that myself. But so this is one of the ogres. He needs a bit longer in a bath to get rid of all this paint. And there's a squig. It's amazing how quickly these things come back to you. If you'd asked me about half of this stuff before I looked at the minis, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you anything. But so this guy's a squig. So he's basically just a big round ball with teeth. Again, it was another secret weapon of the Orcs and Goblins, that they would just kind of come and eat opponents. And they also, some of the braver Goblins used these as mounts, so you could get Goblins riding squigs, I think, which never seemed like the most sensible idea, and probably, knowing the Orcs and Goblins, they could probably get eaten by their own squigs. That seems like a likely outcome. But yeah, there's... and I think these guys are squig herders, with their little cattle prods to try and keep the squigs in order. You can see from these, there's a lot of character in the minis. I think you can tell, I guess, that for me there's a lot of nostalgia in these things as well. But I think that sometimes some of the sense of humour of these things can be a bit lost. I think it didn't necessarily take itself as seriously. Someone who I've never played a game of Age of Sigmar. I should be upfront about that. So it might be that I'm being unfair to it. But yeah, just the level of detail in these and the sense of humour. I do really love these old minis, I have to say. Oh, here's a Black Orc guy who would have been riding a boar. But again, he's had a little bit of a bath in paint remover, but not nearly enough. But you can see. Yeah, good morning. Yeah, there's some serious nostalgia going on here. So I think this guy was a Black Orc Boar rider. I don't know if I've got a boar for him. Again, you'll have to excuse how badly these are painted. No, I can't see a boar. But I've got wolves, which are another thing that goblins rode. Again, my painting back in that day was just horrific. But yeah, so this is what the goblins would have ridden. But they were big fat boars. Yeah, that if that guy tried riding this, his feet would pretty much be touching the ground, which wouldn't be ideal. Let's see. Oh, but I've got... Is that a Goblin Cavalry? Yeah. So... I'm a bit all over the place because I keep getting excited by seeing different things. But you can see like this. So this... If I show it to the camera. This Goblin... I'm not sure exactly how he was riding that. He might have been like on his knees. But he's a cavalry man for that. I also have here the remnants of what's called a Snotling pump wagon. They have great names as well, don't they? It's not, you know, they didn't pull any punches, but yeah, these guys went together, and so Snotlings were even smaller than goblins. They were the tiniest of the tiny. I don't seem to have any of the actual Snotlings here, which is a bit of a shame. But it was a pump wagon, so they kind of had the, you know, in the old school movies where they're moving something on a train tracks. Like that pump up and down, and then it would like try and ram people with these spiky bits and things. So yeah, another great like random miniature, which is yeah, awesome. I really like the weird and wonderful. Obviously, you know, some of the other things are great as well, but just having that craziness about it is awesome. I've also got. I can't remember what's in here. Let's have a look. But I've got this. So this is from Warhammer 40,000. So this is back in about the same time. I never really played very much Warhammer 40,000, but I remember some of my friends were getting into 40k, and I kind of thought, well, I suppose I better do it so that I have something to play. So I started playing Imperial Guard. Oh, there you go. Look at that. That needs a clean. That's again further evidence that these just lived in my parents' house for far too long. Apparently, I was going to paint this Spanish, but I got literally that far. But this is one of the really old school tanks, and it feels like it's plastic. Yeah, it is plastic, but with some metal pieces, which is a little bit random. But there we are. Yeah, so this is a 40k, a very old tank. As I say, I'm really looking forward to getting some paint on some of these again. There's a little bit of I don't know, nervousness is probably not quite the right word, but there is such nostalgia about it. I kind of want to do it right, and make sure that I'm, you know, really doing justice to all of the cool minis. So again, demonstrating how long these were living in some like mouldy old place. But this one I remember was a mini that I wanted for so long. And then I don't think I even ever got around to putting it together because I was so nervous about getting it painted because my painting was so bad. But we'll open it up and see how much of it remains intact at this point. Yeah, so Grom, as it says there, Chieftain Grom. So he was like he was a proper big like general. He was like a named general. Oh, it looks like most of it is here actually. Let's have a look, see what we can do. So, yeah, here's the chariot part. How does it go together? Like this. So, it kind of goes like... I'm trying to vaguely look at the box as I do these things. Is that right? Yeah, it looks it. But, yeah, so you can see there's the... the styrofoam inserts. A friend, actually... used to hate the styrofoam so much and like the noise it made that they had to basically get someone else to take the minis actually out of the styrofoam because it was just they couldn't handle the noise. But this is this is Grom, who is, as I say, he's like a named famous general. I think his name was actually like Grom the Paunch, which you can see. I think I'll have to name myself Goblin Squire the Paunch. But yeah, he is very, very cool. I'm hoping that yes in chat was about him being called Grom the Paunch, not me having to call myself Goblin Squire the Paunch. Although having said it, I can't really blame anyone else for agreeing. So yeah, he's very cool, and he's got his Goblin banner bearer there. So they both go onto this chariot. So the chariot, I've got its wheels here. like that. So yeah, again, it's an odd combination of metal and plastic. So this is a metal actual chariot piece, but the wheels are plastic. Basically, the chariots and Grom and his banner person are all metal, but the wheels and the I think it's wolves pulling it are plastic. And you can see here. So this is kind of how the wolves came. I haven't even removed them from the sprues yet. So these are the wolves. They've got little tails and faces there. So you basically glue those two halves together, and you pin the you get the tail and the head within there. So then you've got your two wolves. Oh, I've got extra. Oh, it's 3 wolves. That's why I've got extra pieces there. It's actually 3 wolves pulling it. I think that's the thing, because they produced wolves for other purposes rather than producing specific wolves for this. They just chucked in these plastic ones, but they work very well, and it's not like the metal of the other stuff is going to cause any issues. It's not that the weight is so extreme. But I'm not, given that everything I think from the kit is in here, I'm really not sure what used to live in there. Maybe. Alright, let's try putting. It's entirely irrelevant, but there we go. Maybe it was like that. Who knows? But yeah, so I'm excited about that. I'll have to put this together at some point very soon, and I'll show it on a future stream. It's very cool to be able to find these things, and you can, as I say, you can almost undoubtedly tell from my voice that for me there's so much nostalgia involved in all this as well. It's very cool. One last thing that I'm going to show you from the Oldhammer extravaganza is I also found, I think this was probably my brother's, but as I say, he doesn't care anymore, so we'll assume that it's fine that I took it. A sealed pack of Empire Cavalry Outriders. So this is, you can see the horse in there, the steed. It's a barded steed, so it's got armour on the actual horse itself and on the kind of neck of the horse. And so there's a plastic horse, and there's an Imperial gunner, so a human gunner on the back. There you go. So yeah, Imperial are the ones I was talking about before, who have like mortars and cannons and all sorts like that. So they had some of the actual like technology stuff. So so that's a metal outrider, so a gunner mounted on this horse, and it cost £2.99 back in the day, which is pretty crazy. I was trying to think how much something like this would be, and obviously they don't make the metal minis anymore. But a rider on a horse like that, I mean, I guess actually they probably wouldn't sell it quite like that anymore, because it would be some crazy large horse monster on sculpted base with all sorts of things. But I reckon you'd be looking at 30 quid for all that probably. As I say, all that extra stuff, but the fact that you could get that for £2.99 back in those days. I had someone ask me recently about pre-decimalisation of currency in the UK, which I have absolutely no idea about, because it happened like 10 years before I was born, but they clearly thought I was that old. But that's a completely random aside. So yeah, you can see there that's still in place. I do have a few other bits and pieces that I will round up, and I might show little bits and pieces in future streams. But I just really wanted to have a really good proper look through everything that was going on in there. I think I've got some. I've got a few tree guys as well. Back a few years ago, I gave Michael Mordor some. I found another unopened pack of this. This was before I managed to liberate all this stuff, and that was of little treant guys. I should have brought through one of the new ones of them, which I also have. But they, again, the amount that they've changed over time is pretty extreme. But maybe that will be one for a future stream. That might be a nice one to do. Maybe once I've eventually painted up one of the Atlantis miniatures elves, maybe I should do a kind of compare and contrast between different elves. I do like seeing the different styles of miniature. I think it's really interesting to see the different interpretations. And as I say, that's why when I was painting this Scotia Grendel mini the other day, which is in metal, and it really made me think much more of those old school orcs than really very much that you see now. I know the Reaper miniatures orcs tend to be much bigger, bulkier, not so much with a paunch, but they're shown as very hench and strong, whereas those are kind of humanoids with green skin and slightly pointy teeth. So yeah, not much difference there. But I hope you've enjoyed that kind of tour of some of the old school minis. I found it really interesting. As I've been saying throughout, I'm sure the excitement in my voice has been showing through. It has been really cool to check those things out. And as and when I actually get some of those things painted up, I will kind of update everyone. All right, let's do. Since I'm doing so many polls and things like that, why don't we say that? Is there anything there that you've seen that you'd like me to paint in the near future? I'm not going to promise that I'm going to do it this week because I've got lots and lots on. But is there anything from the kind of old school Warhammer stuff that would be really cool to see painted up? And then I can kind of do that as a gateway back into doing it, and it will be again bring back so many good memories. I'll make sure that I've got things at hand so we can see things again. But if there's something, as I say, if there's anything that you'd like to see, do let me know, and we can get that going relatively soon. I'm really interested to know. I can't for the life of me remember how much like a box like this cost. I'm trying to remember because, as I say, it was like 8 identical plastic miniatures. I feel like it was maybe £5 when I started doing it, but I don't know. I might be completely misremembering that. So we've got one shout for. Oh yeah, seeing Grom at some point. That would be cool. I will definitely do Grom at some point. But Squigs was another shout. So yeah, that's a good idea. I'll have to remember what they look like. I tend not to be completely kind of dictated to by what is recommended by manufacturers, but at the same time, especially when I'm doing some of the old school stuff, I would love to kind of recapture that look a little bit. So I'll have to look into that. I feel like maybe they were like red and orange, but that might be completely wrong. So I'm not absolutely sure. So chat reckons £5 for these back in the 90s sounds about right. So another vote for the squig. So okay, well I'll start with the squig. I'll do that soon. I think I do have multiple squigs, but why not? Let's start with this guy. He looks like a very cool squig. I might have to have another little bath in paint remover first because there's some left on there. But I'll do the squig, and then soon when my kind of schedule opens up a little bit more for painting, I'll absolutely do Grom. Squig and his herders. Oh man, you are demanding. There's another little squig here as well. He's sticking his tongue out at you. That's what he thinks for you being so demanding. He's just sticking his tongue out at you. All right, well, let's get these out, and I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can get them all done in the near future. That'll give me something to do for my minis of the day for a while. Okay, that sounds awesome. I'm looking forward to that. I think it will be really cool to get those done, and I think it will be interesting to kind of see again. I don't have any of the modern squigs. I think there are squigs in the modern one because I think I saw maybe Gloomspire Gits or something. Maybe had some, not sure. I've only got bits and pieces. As I say, I've never actually played Age of Sigmar, and I've just got some of the minis and things. But I will have a look at the squigs, see what we can do, see how they look compared to other things, and that I think will make another cool segment. Yeah, I know. There's just something about the old minis that just they just cut different, don't they? But yeah, hopefully I can do these some justice, and you can check these out. I might try and do one of these 3 this week, and move on to doing some other things as well, and then catch up with the rest of these the following week. But we'll see how it goes. As I say, I mentioned at the beginning about the different materials that there are for painting miniatures, for having miniatures to paint, and I definitely don't feel like, for me, metal take paint the best. They're not the easiest to paint. I think you can get better detail in some of the other materials, but there's just something about metal minis that you don't get with the other things. And actually, because I think these probably date from the days before Games Workshop went to lead-free metal. The lead again. I'll do a quick plug that later in the week I'm going to do a video, a Goblin Squire Investigates video on whether miniatures are harmful or anything. But I think this dates from the days before they took lead out of their metal, and lead is one of the best ways to keep detail in metal miniatures, which is why they used it, obviously. But I shall go and wash my hands carefully after this stream. But they are awesome, and I do really like them. So yeah, that is very nice. Thank you for helping me decide on those. I will get those to the painting table, probably, as I say, via the paint remover bath for some of them, and yeah, we'll get them up and I will show them to you. So it's getting on for 11 o'clock, which is the time that I normally let you guys go and enjoy your Saturdays. But just a few more little bits and pieces that I thought I would share with you before we end. So first off, just a reminder from the beginning of the stream that I currently have my the poll open for the Atlantis miniature, which kind of their ranges you'd like to see. So there's the link again. So if you haven't already, have a vote on that. Elves, dwarves, and ogres are your choices at the moment. The choices on there, someone said, "Oh, can't I have a goblin?" Unfortunately, I don't own any of their goblins, so I can't paint a goblin at the moment. But the idea is that you vote for which range you'd like, and then I'll do another poll for which miniature, and then I'll start painting that on my Small Creators stream on Thursday. But because I'm doing a small series of them, I can kind of actually get that finished over a few streams, which will be really cool. Also, at the moment, still ongoing on my Patreon is a poll for which of the kind of big projects I'm going to be working on over the next weeks, months, well, probably not months, maybe month. So if you want to have your say in that, you can become a patron from $2. If you're already a patron, just head over there and have a vote. And then patrons, thank you, moderator. Patrons will get regular updates on my progress on that and see what they're doing. And then once I finish that, I'll let the patrons have another vote, and then we'll move on to the next big project. So that kind of keeps me working on slightly more, I guess, slightly more in-depth projects. I'm enjoying doing the mini a day, but at the same time, you kind of have to crank them out and move through them very quickly, and I'm looking forward to there being something which I can kind of take a bit more time on and work on from that point of view. So that would be really good. As I say, do head over there if you want to get involved with my Patreon and doing that. A quick note about Goblin Inspiration, which is so that's the kind of painting initiative that I started to just encourage people to get painting, really. So every month there's a different theme word to get involved with. This month's theme is new, N-E-W. So the idea is maybe you paint a miniature from a company you haven't painted before, using paints, using whatever else. It could just be that the mini has new shiny armor, whatever you want to do, anything along those themes, and then you tag me in on Twitter at Goblin_Squire and use the hashtag Goblin Inspiration. And it's just really it's not a competition, there's no judging, anything like that. It's just to get people painting and get people talking and building a bit of community, which will be really good. Last up, I'm just gonna I thought I'd run through my streaming schedule for this week. So Tuesday evenings are my Reaper Minis stream, and so I'm going to do some work this week on this guy who you saw very briefly earlier when I was comparing him to other guys. So I'm going to be working on this chap here. He's going to be for the ice theme on the Reaper Challenge League. So I've done a few different of the categories for the Reaper Challenge League, but I haven't yet done one for their monthly theme, which is fire or ice. So I'm going to be doing this guy. He's a frost giant, or at least he's going to be when I finish him. I think he actually is a frost giant on their stuff. But I'll be painting him. I'll be doing some work on him anyway on my Tuesday evening stream. And I'll also be just chatting through some of the different categories that I've painted, what I've done for them, those kind of things. It's getting on towards the end of the month now, so I have to start wrapping up and figuring out exactly what's what. I haven't submitted anything for the Reaper Challenge League yet, so I will definitely need to do that because I've painted for a number of different categories. And yeah, I'll start thinking probably about what I'm going to do next month as well. So again, lots of chance for chat to interact, suggest things for me to paint, ways to do that. I haven't done anything on the limited palette this month, so I don't know if I'll have a chance to do that while doing other things. But just a quick note. So I ran out of large bases, and this is just some like packaging. So it came from it's a slightly, so we bought. So we had got the game Gloomhaven. My wife bought that, and it's an amazing game. And then we bought an insert to organise everything within the game. And this is literally one of the offcuts of like polystyrene from that. So not polystyrene. What do I mean? Padded stuff. Anyway, so I literally just use that as a base. So, but it works well. It does its job. I'm going to very quickly also show you another giant. Last week, not this week gone, but the week before, my like foam board, foam core, exactly, you're quite right. So not this week just gone, but the week before, I painted an ogre with a table from Heresy Miniatures, which is this guy. And I mentioned on that stream about how one of the minis that I really wanted to get was Mucklegeet, which is their giant from Heresy Miniatures. Now, my wife is nothing if not amazing and enabling me, and she bought me Mucklegeet. So this is Mucklegeet the giant. I think I might have to switch cameras to show you this properly. Let's go to... No, that's not the one I wanted to show you. There, how about that? So this is Mucklegeet the giant. He's as big as my face. So yeah, and just as a size comparison, since I have it here, so this is the Reaper giant. He is a monster, this dude, and he's eating a paladin. You can kind of see there he's like legs and his cloak and everything. This guy is an absolute monster, and he looks so good in person. There's a few little areas that I'm gonna have to like fill in with filler and stuff, but nothing too major. That's always the way with these big pieces. So yes, this is currently my pride and joy. I told my wife that I was bringing someone through to be on the stream with me. She thought I was talking about the cat, but I was just talking about the giant, such is my love for him. He's an absolute monster. So I think he's probably going to be one of the ones that my patrons will eventually get to vote if they want me to do a big project. He'll be one of those. The only issue at the moment is I've got so many other things going on and so many polls and things, I can't put paint on him just yet because I don't quite have the time. But he is absolutely huge, and solid resin. So yeah, he's a beast. Good. So now that I've shown him off, so back to my streaming schedule, which I got distracted from somehow. I know it's hard to believe that I have more projects going on than I currently have time for. It's currently my desk is kind of covered in bits and pieces that I've been. So I've been. I hope if I show you the camera where I'm trying to show you. So I've been putting together these guys from Mantic. So they're on one part of my desk. I've got the Atlantis miniatures that I've been showing. I've got other works in progress. Yeah, I've got lots and lots of projects going on at the moment. So it is really cool, and it's great to be able to do all the streaming, and it's great to have the people coming along and things. And my patrons are great, and they get all the kind of back behind the scenes stuff, and they get to help me choose stuff. So it's great having all these things going on. But yes, it can fry my brain a little bit at times. So Tuesday is Reaper, and I'll be doing the Frost Giant. Wednesday is my League of Legends stream. So my noob learns League of Legends, so I'll probably be playing and dying at some more League of Legends. But having fun, learning, growing, all that stuff. It's just a way for me to kind of chill out and relax from some mini painting for a bit. Thursday is my small creators stream. So that will be where I start on whichever Atlantis miniature has won the variety of polls. So do have your say in those if you want to see what's going to be coming up from there. And then I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks to have another guest on Coffee Chat and Minis, because it was really nice last week to have a chat with Andy. It was good to see the different bits and pieces going on. So that was really great. So I haven't yet tapped anyone up for being on the streams, but I've got a few ideas of people that I'd love to have on there. So yeah, if there's anyone that you'd like for me to try and get on my streams, do let me know. I don't know. It will obviously depend on a number of different things. But yeah, that will be in the agenda because I think everyone enjoyed just seeing those chats, hearing about what was going on. So yeah, that was good. Okay, well, we are past 11 o'clock, so it's just about time for me to let you guys go and enjoy your Saturday. But thank you for choosing to spend the time with me, whether that, as I say, whether that's live, whether that's later. I know this time works for those of us in Europe and around, but really doesn't work for those in the Americas. So thank you if you're catching up on it later on. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a good weekend and then a great week and you get time for some hobbying yourselves. Yeah, do, if you haven't followed my Twitch channel, give me a follow. I'd love for you to, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter, all those kind of things would be amazing. All those kind of numbers help when you're trying to get off the ground as a streamer and things. So I really appreciate anything like that you can do. And yeah, just thank you so much for choosing to spend the time with me. I hope you enjoyed seeing all those old pewtery minis and things. And I hope also that in the coming days and weeks you'll enjoy seeing these squigs and herders painted up. I know I'm going to enjoy painting them. So have a great time. I hope to see you at my stream on Tuesday. That would be amazing. But any time you can pop in is greatly appreciated. But yeah, in the meantime, enjoy your day, and I'm sure one way or another I'll see you soon. Bye.